All right, welcome to Inside the 90. We got a really enthusiastic episode today around process. Everybody loves to talk about process.
Absolutely. Bureaucracy, throw it at me.
Let's do it. Let's talk about process. So let's open up process a little bit. It's always like this weight around process. Everybody's always tried process and it's like, it doesn't work. We don't follow it, or it's in the filing cabinet, or I don't know. Sometimes we have them. So first of all, let's kind of just set the stage. What do we mean when we say process?
Yeah. So inside the EOS framework, there's two process components. There's the proven process, which is really the external messaging of what your customer experience can look like, what they can expect. And then there's the core processes, which is the collection of processes that are required for your business to exist and to produce whatever it is that you do.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So we think about proven process and core processes. Which one you want to start with?
Yeah. And just because I'm a purist, I'm going to anchor it in the EOS model. So one of the 6 key components is our process component. Yes. That is what we're talking about around core processes. In the vision component, we have one of the questions on the VTO is a marketing strategy where our proven process lives. Okay. So I just want to anchor it in EOS purity. Yes. But now let's talk about the types of process we have. Proven, core, and there's even a third type, which is like work instructions and SOPs.
Yes. And
so let's dive into proven process. So proven process is an illustrated model of the journey a client goes through from when they first engage with us until they're lifelong customers and they're happy customers. And so that's what the proven process is.
Yeah, I think just using EOS as an easy example, right?
Yeah.
If you Google EOS proven process, you're going to find the first step is the 90-minute meeting, and then it goes through a 2-year cycle, and it just sets the rhythm, right? It's like, this is what I can expect to experience in working with EOS. Mm-hmm. And I think especially as a marketing and brand guy, that's something I've always naturally fallen to. So, going back 20 years ago, we were like, hey, our process is the 4D process: discover, define, design, and deliver. Way before EOS, that was a way for us to communicate to clients that we've done this before. We've worked with clients like you. We've solved this problem before. We have a way to think about it in a point of view.
Yes.
And so that was that external proven process.
Yeah. And that, even in the proven process, that's half of the value of having it.
Yep.
Is that external credibility. We have your back. We're easy to do business with because all we need to worry about is the next step because we have the others figured out, right? That's the value externally. Internally, there's a value of having it as well.
Yes.
It aligns sales and operations because how many times we've been in a meeting where operations goes, you sold what to who?
Yes.
Right? And so
many of those meetings.
Yes.
I was the sold it guy.
Right. Me too. That's always been my thing too. But it happens because we're not selling our process.
Yep.
And if we sell our process, we now are effective and we're aligned internally, and we can be more efficient from that side. And so that's the other value of having that proven process. And then if we embed it in the marketing strategy, that's also embedded in now what our sales and marketing says to the world.
Yes.
So we have alignment and clarity to the world on what we do. So that proven process is one little question embedded in the VTO, embedded in the vision component, but there's so much value that stems from having a really clear, illustrated, proven process.
Yeah, and actually, so applying that to us today at Wonder, right? So we're a marketing and media agency for B2B tech brands that run on EOS ideally. And as I've worked over 2 decades to build out our processes and the way we think about things and what our point of view is, when I got introduced to EOS 6 years ago and we started running on EOS, and I'm like, oh, this actually, the what I've been doing for years kind of starts to lay out because we've always led with our approach.
Yes.
And really that became what is Wonder's proven process, which is called the Next 90 Marketing Operating System, right? We came up with a framework that is the customer journey and experience that has to do with aligning sales and marketing alignment, for what the success looked like in 3 years, right? We want to jump forward and talk about, all right, client, we're working with you. Obviously, marketing supports sales. What's the sales objectives? And what's great alignment look like way down the road?
Absolutely.
And then we back up and say, all right, to be there, what do we need? What's the 1-year plan from a marketing perspective that says, all right, we're now going to allocate your dollars and resources to do these things the next year from a marketing perspective, these sales goals to be where we need to be in 3 years.
Right.
And then break that down into quarterly priorities or marketing projects. Saying this quarter, we're going to knock these things out. And for us, like that was what we've always done, but laying the rhythm of EOS into it really gave us a tight, proven process that's super relevant to the clients that we're working with.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And think of it as like the proven process. You see it all over the place of organizations using this idea and concept. One is like last time you ordered Domino's pizza and there's like this tracker that occurs.
Yeah.
Like order placed, or you order DoorDash, like order placed, order being prepared, out for delivery.
Guy pulls in vape shop. No joke. I'm watching it. Shows up at my house.
Oh,
and then
gosh.
I went to I got the pizza and I was like, hey man, here's $5 for your vapes next time you stop in. And he was like, what? I was like, yeah, I saw the tracker. You pulled it in the vape shop, right? And he was like, yeah, thank you, man.
Should I not have done that? Yeah, so that's a proven process they're putting out to the world.
Yeah.
Right? Oh my gosh.
But I also think, so that was, in your context, that is the external.
Yes.
So now, like, you know, I spend a lot of time internally now coaching my team up to understand where projects lay within this overall process. So it is the external process, but part of ours is all projects go through strategy, concept, production, and activation. So now clients go through those phases, projects go through those phases, and all of that aligns internally with where we are in the sequence of the rollout for our clients. So it's just so packaged up that internally people can understand what we call where's the work, right?
Yes.
Based on where we are in the project cycle or the client cycle.
Well, like, let's think about this. Okay, so now let's make the bridge. So we have our proven process. It's illustrated. It's on a one-sheeter. We go out to the world. This is what we do, right? This is how we do it. And now...
Keep that. Keep talking.
Yes. Okay. And now where are you going?
I think I have a printout of mine.
Oh, good. If not, I think I have one too, actually.
I don't.
Grab my bag. It might be in the back of it. The very back page. Yep, back zipper. I might have one in there.
I don't see one.
No?
No. Well, hold on. It feels like... Well, we can... All right, so we're not going to edit that out, by the way. So this is a good example. We didn't find ours because neither me nor Andrew have one. But that is the EOS.
Yes, that's that
process.
That's that picture that you can use as now it aligns.
Yeah.
So now let's make that bridge. So our sales are out there saying this is our process. We land it. Now we need to deliver that process. That's where core processes come in place. So I always say that the proven process aligns our internal processes, which is our core processes. So in the example of the Domino's tracker, right? What's happening behind the stage is we have internal processes that order is placed. Somebody grabs a ticket, puts the ticket on the rail. Okay, this person's going to grab the dough, do the dough, then this. Once that's done, they hit a button that transitions it from here to there. So those proven processes uphold our core processes uphold our proven process.
Yeah. And then as part of the VTO, part of the marketing strategy, you figure out your proven process, get that shaped. You know, I recommend that just like EOS, like you draft it for 90 days, you live in it, revisit it every 90 days, refine it over 2 or 3 quarters. I find that you get pretty tight in it.
Yes.
And people start understanding it and it starts becoming one of those things. It's like, all right, we feel some traction on that.
Yeah.
Let's talk about core processes now.
Yeah.
That seems daunting, right? So where do you even begin?
Okay, so this is where you begin. So there's 2 angles. So there's actually a proven process. Right?
Yeah.
So there's a process for building the process. So in that process, it starts with committing. Like we have to commit to do this. Like put the energy, put the work in, it's going to be worth it. Once we commit, we first we identify what, this is in the tool for anchoring in EOS. This is the 3-step a process documenter. That's a tool. So we're going to first identify what those core processes are. And I do it from 2 perspectives. One is our proven process. So of that proven process, there's probably steps that we coined and we name that step. Can we pull that name of that step into a core process? That's one. So that fills some of our core processes. The other one are there's supportive processes as well. So every organization has a sales process, a marketing process, a handful of operational. They may have a finance and invoicing process, a people process, how to manage, hire, all of that of the people. So we identify those. After we identify, we then go through and we document and simplify. So we actually spend time with the people doing that and documenting 20% of the steps that get us 80% of the way there. And if we hire people that GWC the seat, they know how to fill in the rest of the 80%.
Yeah.
Right. But we document and simplify those processes that we're putting in a booklet think of it as like a franchise model for our business. And then the third step is we package them. Yeah. So now it's in that single package. So that's how we first build them. And typically that takes us about, we usually can do it over 2 quarters. So it takes about 6 months to kind of do it effectively, of identify, right, document, simplify, and then package.
Yeah, I like doing workshops with clients on this. And most of the ones I've done have been some form of professional business or software. I know there are other businesses that may get more complicated than that. But you get the right people to the table. I recommend you have a few people from the leadership team who really understand the inner workings. You don't need a team of 12 people doing it.
No.
And I just I use note cards, not sticky notes. Just note cards are easier to slide around. And, write sold something, collected money, right? It literally is we have to sell something. We've got to accounts receivable, whatever you want, collect dollars. And start with those 2, because that's some form of there's a beginning and here's an end. And then just start, all right, what does it take to sell something?
Yes.
And you're asking questions, you're thinking really high level. And what is 20% of the steps that drive 80% of the results. And then my non-EOS Jami language is, but happen 100% of the time.
Yeah.
Right. Because there's some things that your company doesn't do all the time.
Yeah.
But from a core process, it's what are the things that, are that 80% use case or whatever that's going to be. And just start note carding that out. And don't get fancy. Don't put marketing language on it. Just be objective and factual. And this step has to happen. And you'll get to a point where you'll have a lot of cards, but you kind of get back and you're like, wow, I didn't know in 90 minutes we could kind of get that much kind of fleshed out. And then, with phone sound, just take pictures of them. You got it archived. And then you start moving it to something with, you use workflow software or Google Slides or whatever, but get it into some shape. It's a little bit prettier. Yeah. And then you start just kind of paring it down.
And the best core processes I've seen built is what you're explaining, where it's a linear approach of it needs to start here and it needs to get here. So what are the major milestones that you're going to take along that journey? That's also a getting what you want tool in the EOS toolbox. So if you open that up, read through that, that's what we're talking about here, is taking those major milestones to get to where you want at the end of the process. But then there's probably a couple bullets under each of the major milestone steps. And that becomes pretty much your core process. It talks about who does what when. Not a lot about the how. Correct. That's the work instructions. That's the SOPs. So who does what when in this process? And that helps us build that core process out.
Hey there, I've got a favor to ask really quick. So we appreciate all the feedback we get, people that are telling us they're listening to the episodes, and it's just cool because we do this, we're passionate about it, and we just want to let other people into our conversation. So Andrew and I love getting feedback. But we'd love, if you don't mind, we're getting close to our 999,999 followers. So if you'll just push subscribe, you may be our 1 millionth follower, which is our goal. Also, if you know someone that this conversation would be beneficial to and you want to share it to them, that would be great too. So again, we appreciate you. If you don't mind, subscribe, even give us a rating. That'd be awesome too. Thank you. Yeah, I was going to say, even the click here stuff, because a lot of times it'll be like, well, we go into, someone has to go into ERP and do this invoice thing or whatever it is. And it's like, no, we just have to send an invoice. Like at this stage, it's just like, super
don't worry
simple.
about, yep.
Don't worry about the click here stuff.
Exactly.
That's the next level of followed by all.
Absolutely. So, okay. So now we have those core processes. We get them documented. We get them packaged. Okay. The way you package them, it needs to be, somebody needs to own the packaging of the core processes, because we want it to be the same across the organization and we want them to be kept in like a certain way. So whether it's a printable little handout full of checklist type of processes, whether it's in whale.io, whether it's in 90 in the knowledge base, whether it's wherever that lives, in SharePoint, whatever you want. But we have to come with like, this is how we are going to package these and put them together and make sure they're accessible to everybody. Then that's half the battle. Now let's talk about like getting it followed by all.
So I think followed by all, getting into that stage, I think there's a step before that where it's surfacing and letting people see it. And I actually, of the tools that we have, VTO and everything, our core process chart is the thing I come back to the most. Once a week, I'm in a conversation where I pull it up. Warren, my integrator, we just had our same page last week. Our same page meetings are usually putting that chart up.
100%.
And talking about where are our pain points. So ours is in a Google Slides, so everything's editable. And like we've got 12 processes. It's super simple. If you can look at it and point to like, all right, we have a pain point. Where is it in here? And then we have our pain points actually in pink. It's like that's where we're broken right now. And there's some parts of our process that we just struggle with. And that has to do with, there's the GWC part of that you could say at scale is actually the result of the wrong people on the wrong bus. It's actually just our scale and size right now. We don't have enough people wearing enough hats to solve all these things. And they expose some pain points. But instead of talking about them randomly or just bringing up issues, I pull that core processes chart up all the time and say, all right, where are we talking about? Is we got 12 processes, each has about 5 steps. So ours is 1 through 12 and A through whatever. And it's like, we're talking about 4B.
Yeah.
4B right now is a major pain point.
Yes. I love this. So this brings up 2 things for me. One is a little trick that I'll do is in an L10 or a quarterly session is you can take a chair and write process on a piece of paper and you tape it to that chair. And so many times it's a breakdown in the process that's the core issue. And so what you're doing is actually exactly what would be expected, to bring that up and talk through that, because that's a lot of time the issue at hand is that it's a breakdown in the process or it's not clear or wherever that pain point is. The other thing it brings up for me is that highlighting the bottlenecks in the process that get us stuck, which is part of the FBA checklist and the cadence of FBA, which I want to open up in a minute, but I just want to hit it on your part, which is the measure aspect. So those areas of pink should make it onto our scorecard.
Yes.
So even if though we know that those are potential bottlenecks what we're having, if we're tracking them weekly, we can get ahead of it. Of when, and we can measure in a lot of different ways, but let's get them on the weekly scorecard so we can see when those bottlenecks are really causing pain points.
Yeah, like one of our issues, and if you listen to the previous episode about GWC, we're talking about me as an account manager, right? We have a scorecard metric, which the metric has got to be 0 of how many times a client reaches out and asks for the status of something. Because that's one of the things I'm not really good at. And that was broken in our processes, was closing the loop and communicating back on when things are going to be delivered. And so we actually have a 0 scorecard metric where we want 0 clients reaching out and asking. And if any account person gets an email that says, hey, can you give me the status of this? You got to go into 90 and plug it in there.
Yep.
And then that is like, all right, we have this communication thing that's not working really well.
I love it. All right. So let's jump into FBA because this is daunting a little bit for people. It's where processes die is in this area. This is when they get put in the filing cabinet and not updated and all these different things. So in the process, we went through commit. We went through the 3-step process documenter, which was identify, document, simplify, and then package. Now let's talk about the FBA checklist, which is followed by all. And the way that I like to do this, and this may not be pure, I don't know, somebody can check me on it, but is seeing this as a cadence. And I like to look at it as a quarterly cadence. So let's just use the Q1 as a starting point. The 4 components of the FBA checklist is training. It's measuring, LMA, so leading and managing to the processes, and then updating the processes. So Q1 of every quarter, we're going to train our processes. That's going to be the focus of one of the rocks during that quarter is going to be, we're going to spend a little bit of time training our current processes.
And that's organizationally every year Q1.
Yes.
Yeah.
Organizationally every year Q1. We are going to train our processes. Q2, we are going to make sure that we're measuring the right things in our process. So compliance in our process, certain steps that cause bottlenecks, outcomes expected. Like what of our process should we be measuring effectively? And I look like all Q2, that's one of the rocks that the team leaders are going to take to ensure that we're measuring them effectively. Q3 is LMA. So managing to those, holding the team accountable to getting them done. We're putting extra focus on that in Q3. Q4, we go and we update all of our processes. And then we start over on Q1 and retrain. Now, that's at scale, like when we have them all and we're going. You have to have a bridge of when we create them, package them, and then get them out there. So that first time we train, that FBA checklist is a little bit tighter. And it may be this quarter we're going to train these 4 processes. The next quarter we're going to train these 4 processes. So you need to bridge that gap, and there's ways to do that effectively, but that's at scale, is that cadence of the FBA checklist.
Yeah, no, I like that. And I'm sitting here thinking like, all right, can we start Q1 and Q3?
Yeah, of course.
Just start the first rollout, the cadence, right?
And you can do the cadence however you want.
Yeah.
It may not even be like whatever you want your cadence to be like, but I think the cadence of it is where it never loses.
Yeah.
It never gets getting forgot about.
Yeah. And I also say like I'm reflecting now on some issues that we're having internally that are process related.
Yeah.
And it's actually because the FBA isn't there. Like we've got our core processes. We know that these things need to be happening, but we have yet to say, okay, well, let's actually define when and how and where and who is responsible for doing those in these few areas that we have challenges with right now. And I think that's so going on the leadership L10 issue for Monday.
I love it.
It's going to be like, hey, let's FBA this process and make sure that the owner of it knows it and gets it defined and trains everybody on it.
It's fantastic.
Yeah.
And like, you don't have to overthink when you do that. Like, it's like, oh, it's everything. It's always a cadence. Well, just do it in the L10s.
Yeah.
I'm going to have an issue in there, a rock in there, however you want to do it, to train in Q1. Q2, I'm going to bring it up. We're going to talk about it as a team. How do we measure this better? What measurables are we not thinking of? Where are we getting stuck now where we maybe weren't before? And then we're going to manage to it. So we're going to look at the processes being followed. We're going to bring it up more often. We're going to dig in deeper. And then we're going to update them as a team and just like constantly do that. And I just think Stacy, my wife, always says to bring people in on your process. Don't wait till your mind is clear and then bring it to them.
Correct.
And it's kind of that idea of like, instead of taking it all on as a leader of putting all this in place, we feel like it's our responsibility. It ultimately is, but it's not it's the way we do it doesn't have to be all on our shoulders. I can bring somebody in on my process, let them know, hey, this is what we need to do. And they are usually more than willing to help and have a ton of good ideas. rather than waiting for I have the answers and I have the how we're going to measure it and some of those.
Yeah. So one of the things I encourage when documenting the original draft of these note cards is to really think about the happy path, right? It's like, if these are the major milestones and things that happen, we don't need to have all the if-thens, right? It's just, if everything goes smooth, it just flows like this. So you don't have to think about how do we do this today and what's the process today. You're stepping out of the business and you're saying, let's just lay out these note cards and figure out, what the happy path is. And if everything were to go well, how does everything flow?
Yes.
And that becomes really the 20% of the steps that create 80% of the outcome.
Yeah.
Right?
That's a simplifying piece of that.
Yes.
That's where that occurs, is in that component. And there's really neat things out there today with AI on this, you can do video capture of these processes, just take a picture of the exercise of creating the happy path and have AI support and just build a core process for us and lay those things out. We'll have to edit and all these different things, but this, where I may have said it may take 6 months to get them all built and simplified, can probably be expedited and speed up nowadays. So you could probably do it in a shorter period of time.
Yeah, exactly. If you ChatGPT is what I've decided to kind of double down on for our use. But if you actually have the format that you want your processes documented in, and one of the things Adam Landry was always is, why does this process exist? What's the aim?
Yes.
Right. So here's step 4 of our 12, core processes. This process 4, why does it exist?
Yeah.
And then what are the sub steps? And AI crushes it. If you direct it correctly and say, here's my framework, here's my chart, here's the things, my business, I fed you a bunch of stuff. Now write out the 100%. FBA process itself. It will get a really good draft much faster than the brute force. Get your head in the right space to write a process doc that I used to live in.
100%. 100%. We just want to be careful about it not getting too detailed.
Correct.
So so we have our proven process, we have our core processes, then we have work instructions, training material, which tells us more how to do those things. And this is where I want to talk about, get our arms around this whole thing. The connection of the 3 is where the beauty is at, okay? And that's where the power comes. So I'm just going to give the world I live in as an example. I have a proven process. If I'm helping a client implement EOS, I have a proven process. We start with a 90-minute meeting. We then go to a focus day. We then go to vision building 1, vision building 2, and then we go into the quarterlies, right? Well, that's the proven process. That's what we talk about. Constantly putting in front of clients, constantly saying this is where we're going, this is where we're at, this is where we're at in the process, where we're going, right? But then behind the scenes, Susan and I have core processes in place that when I schedule a 90-minute meeting, she has a checklist of things that get done because of that trigger. Yes. And it's all associated and it stands up all the way through the relationship. And then there's training materials on that one step. Okay, if we need to know how to put this in the CRM, there's a training video on how to do that, right? But that's where now it all becomes this really aligned aspect of how we do business. Yeah. And that becomes our franchise model.
Yeah, not everybody in the organization needs to read the manual, right?
No.
Front to back. It's this is the seat I sit in. These are the processes that I support. Here's how we do those as a team, right?
But there's a better connection for them to know what the whole, where they fit. The work I do, the more medial process type of work I do, it has a connection to this journey for the client.
Yeah, very good. And then now let's talk about, you mentioned what used to take 6 months, 9 months, now you could do much quicker. But for someone who's all right, we're starting with our core processes today. We're going to do a workshop on this week.
Yeah.
But then you get all the way through, we've franchised our work instructions and they're in a binder. What's that journey look like?
And they're correct.
Yes.
I'd say a year and a half.
Year and a half.
I'd say realistically a year and a half.
Yeah.
Smaller company, earlier stage, faster, obviously. Yeah. But if you want to call it a 50-person organization, I'm going to say a year and a half.
Yeah.
And the reason why is because you got to go through a whole cycle of that.
Yeah.
Like almost 2 cycles of the FBA.
Yeah.
To be like, okay, we're really, really dialed in. We can go from let's get our core processes in place and they are packaged and they're ready to go in a quarter or 2. But when they're right and that they're followed by all that, that's where that process piece really kicks in.
Yeah, very cool. Well,
call to action on some of this. There's a great book by Mike Payton called Process that lays a lot of this out. So EOS is releasing a deep dive into kind of each component. So process is one of the 6 key components, is a book on that, right? There's a book on people process, or not people component.
Yes.
Right. So there's a book on this process. It's a great place to deep dive into it. Yeah. But this is where implementers can definitely support a process. I know you're a process guy. You love doing process workshops as well.
Actually, I'm not. I'm the FBA part, like in the weeds, scares the hell out of me, right? I'm a simplifier. Like I want to help people take complex stuff and break it down into something that's easy to understand and visual. Yes. So my gift,
proven process.
My zone of genius, proven process and core process, it's both getting them to a very simple form that people can look at and go, all right, cool, I can see that. Like so far, every company I've worked with that I've done this for my own or for clients, I have gotten the core processes to 1 slide.
Yeah.
The entire business and the functions on 1 8.5 by 11 piece of paper.
Yeah. That's impressive.
And that's not tiny type either. Like that's it. And so if you think you got a super complicated core processes, call me. We'll see if I can't get them down to 1 slide.
I love it.
And there is on this call to action too. If you Google the difference between core processes and proven process in EOS, you should find a wonder blog post that I wrote that just breaks down everything that we've just talked about. So if you need some support, you can get to that.
Absolutely. And this is something that first step is a commit step. And so you have to commit. The team, we have to be, as a leadership team, like, we're going to tackle this and let's go after it. And my suggestion was always this conversation of what comes first: accountability chart, proven process, core process. Like, how do you do that all effectively? And here's my recommendation: accountability chart into proven process into core processes.
Yep.
That's what I would recommend.
Cool. Good conversation.
Yeah. All right, brother.
All right.
Until next time.
Until next time. We'll see you.